Greetings, gamers. Tim here again. Today is almost the close of August 24th, 2017. And hopefully this video is coming through a bit clearer than last time. My friend noted that my microphone was not picking up my voice very well. And part of it is I've been trying to be quiet for a variety of reasons. Partially my dog, because she tends to show up and bark at me or want to get involved when I'm on headphones, especially when I'm talking to other people. Not necessarily these videos, because I usually aim them for a specific time of night when the dogs have settled down. But with the weather being what it is, and with everything else, it's just been a little crazy. And trying to get the microphone to pick up my voice at a decent volume without picking up all of the room static. Because there is a lot of room static. There's a fan blowing, and there's a lot of things that's hitting and blowing through which create noise that the microphones on some of these things pick up. Even though they have trouble with my voice right here, you know. It's literally, 2 inches away. That's just a particular set of headphones. And I've had better ones. I will tell you the truth. This is a set of Sadies, but I'm finding them somewhat difficult to get to read me. The volume control, I mean, they're really great with the volume of playback, but the pickup volume on the microphone seems to be low. And part of the reason that it was so quiet was this microphone wasn't picking me up. It was actually my web cameras, and it's, 2 feet from me. He also said that my head kept getting bigger because I was moving closer, and I was, but part of that was because right behind me, you can't see it quite anymore, but along this white strip right here is where the sun normally shines. There, and then just a little bit, my arm can't figure out which way it's going, looking at a straight image of myself. And right here, the sun would be very bright. And so I usually was trying to position my head where this crack along the back of my skull wouldn't be seen. So I was shifting me, I was shifting the camera, I was shifting the whole computer the camera's attached to. Even though shifting the camera is easier, sometimes moving the whole thing helps me center my frame of reference a little better. It also has, centering controls, and I've been using that. So today is August 24th, Rpgaday number 24. And today's question is, what publisher, let me be specific, share a PWYW publisher who should be charging more. Now, if you don't know what PWYW is, that is pay what you want. That is literally a selling pattern and tactic that has become popular as of late, especially for some of the lower cost expansions that people wouldn't normally think about picking up. They're made for pay what you want, so you can either go, okay, well, I think this is worth $5, and somebody else can go, oh, I think it's worth $10, and somebody may, like me, not have any money that day, and go, you know what, I'm going to see how much this, of this is useful to me, and pay nothing, and then download it and look at it. And if it's worth something, go back and pay something later. And to tell you the truth, I haven't done that a lot. A lot of the things that have been pay what you want either were things I went ahead and paid a few dollars for, anywhere from $4 to $10 for up front, because I knew it was going to be material I wanted, or it wasn't. It wasn't anything specifically. There's a reason I didn't pay for it. I wanted to see what was in it before I chose what I felt it was worth. And usually it was, this isn't so great, I'm not going to keep it. That's not to say that pay what you want products are bad. No, quite a few of them are good. But those are usually the ones I pay for up front. uh, because it's just what I do. Now, there have been a couple that have surprised me, and I've gone and paid a few dollars, over either what I paid already, or I'd gone back and basically decided that this thing I got for free was actually worth something more than I imagined it was. But a lot of it, publishers do this a lot. So they tend to be a relatively good judge of what the value of something is, and what the market will bear if they've done more than one or two games. So a lot of pay what you want is experimental stuff, or it's stuff that's already made back its money, and at the moment they're just collecting any money you want to throw their way. Because there are people who are like, show me this, I will pay you money for it. I think probably the best publisher that I can think of that has a few pay what you want products that probably should be charging for them is Evil Hat. Evil Hat Games, they do the Fate core system and the Fate system toolkit and so on and so forth, and a variety of support products for Fate. They are probably about the best one, I would say, for, making products that are well worth paying for. Right now, I think, I'm not sure. I'm kind of looking for things to see if there's any other publisher I might recommend. But, Evil Hat is pretty much coming up as the one that has the most things. I'm like, yeah, I need that. And, yeah, I need that. And they even have Fate Core as pay what you want, which is, as a PDF, is well worth it. Even if you just want to read it for systemic understanding of Fate. So if you pick up a game that uses Fate, you'll have an idea what the rules are like in advance. Even if you just want to pick it up to learn the system, that is one I recommend. The Fate Core book, also Fate Accelerated. Fate Accelerated is worth, probably $10. And it's just this tiny booklet, and it's a really tiny booklet. And they would have probably charged, $7.95 or $6.95 back when I was paying $20 for box sets. And that's how much they would have expected you to pay for it. But it is well worth the money. It is pay what you want, and it is a fantastic little game. Very, very compact and usable. And I believe it's pay what you want as well. Because, again, they made plenty of money, apparently. And most of the money, long-term for role-playing games, is made in the first year, in the first 6 months. And that confuses people, because they're like, well, you got this product on the shelf. Why isn't it selling? Why aren't more people picking it up? Well, that's because interested parties, ones that will pay for it, rather than go look for it free, tend to be early adopters. They tend to be the ones who are going, oh, let me see that. Oh, I got it. Oh, the book smells so good because it's a print book. Or, oh, the PDF, it looks so nice. Or what have you. I'm an early adopter. I always have been. And literally by early adopter, I would go through newsprint catalog from one company. Because this is before the days of the interwebs. Way back when this wasn't a thing that everybody used. Only a few really die-hard geeks and military personnel were using the net. I mean, there were BBSs, dial-up BBSs at the time, but there were not like websites and so on and so forth beyond a few pre-configured services like CompuServe and AOL. So this is a long time ago. We're talking real primitive Stone Age technology. You know, you practically had to walk over there and pick up the printout, 30 miles uphill in both, snow both ways. Avoid dinosaurs that like the snow, just to get your, to buy a product that was electronic, if they even had an electronic product, and they usually didn't, because it wasn't a thing yet. We had not reached that technological level that a computer that holds an immense amount of memory fits in the palm of your hand. And I mean an immense compared to what we had at that time. So you wouldn't think at that time about downloading a book. Even just a plain text book only takes up a few kilobytes most of the time. But even back then, that would have been, oh my gosh, that's huge. And it doesn't portray game books very well because most of them are art heavy these days. Which is in my way a good way, because it sells you on a game. It can make or break the feel of a game for some people. For other people, they don't care. They're like, whatever, I'm not a visual person, and go back to reading the plain textbooks. But one of the things that I want to make you understand is Pay What You Want is not really intended to get products for it. It's really intended for you to kind of browse. Because with physical products, you can go into most game stores, the few that are left, pick up a game book, and I'm just going to pick this one up because it's handy. Pick up a game book, and flip through it, and go, look, lots of writing. Ooh, pictures. Ooh. Beautiful layout. Very cool, And this, in a way, is marketing. And it's marketing to you a product you have not yet paid for. And you can do that in the physical bookstore. They're becoming rarer, of course. But you can also do it electronically with Pay What You Want. And that, to me, says a lot about the company that is willing to do Pay What You Want with a product, even after, 90% of their sales are already accounted for. They'll probably only make a trickle of money, from their products, even at Pay What You Want. Because people do spend zero money and expect these great products. But let me explain this to you. I'm a game writer. The cost to me is not nothing. Because I gotta eat. I gotta be able to have a roof over my head, a computer to access to write. Now, I could write by hand like some people, but then nobody would ever be able to read it, even me, and we'd have lost a great game. Or, a semi-great game, in my case. But more seriously, one of the things that the computers have done is it allows us to produce them more efficiently, to make things less expensively, but still usable and serviceable. But it has taken away the ability to flip through it for that advertising, that feel of a book and the smell of a book. And I know people, other than me that, go to bookstores just because the feel of bookstores, and preferably one without a coffee shop attached, because the smell of a bookstore with new books is It's a weird kind of, wow, this is awesome, inspiring kind of place, and libraries get it too, but they eventually lose it because their books go through a lot of hands, so they start smelling like human places, rather than book places, which is okay. I mean, wherever humans go, we leave our stench, so to speak. But the thing is I know how much it costs to produce a game, having written 2 of them and working on the second edition of one of those, and having several more in the back burners, only because I'm trying to get this one finished before I start working seriously on the others. It's costly. It's expensive. It's an effort for the writer. And believe me, many of us game writers do not get paid anywhere near what you would consider. And I mean, some of you are going to be game writers too, and you're going to be nodding and going, we don't get paid that much. We get a cup of coffee occasionally. We occasionally get a burger out of it from a fast food place, but we're probably going to be buying from the dollar menu. And part of that is to make a game that stays affordable for anyone to grab. Because there's a point at which you reach a cost of a product that people will use for years that they don't want to pay over a certain dollar amount for. And with electronic books, those books are eternal as long as they've got a way to back them up somewhere. And with cloud services, we're getting pretty close to being able to keep that information cycled safely somewhere. So, but still, it's the early adopters who get most of the money that pays for the writing. For me, getting to, eat occasionally something up from a dollar menu item from, artists. And artists who work in the gaming industry, let me be honest, they charge a significant amount. But it is not much compared to what any other artists who have not worked in the gaming field want to charge you. I have gone to artists who make no money. They make no money unless they've monetized their DeviantArt pages. But they make no money on things they call sketches. So they're beautiful bits of art. And you ask them, how much would it cost for a custom sketch? And they go, and you explain what you want. Now, for you, if you're not a game writer and you don't want to publish it, they're going to say, oh, this is $50-$60. It's not that expensive. I spent maybe 2 hours working on it. And that's $25 an hour. That's good money. But the minute you say you want to use it for commercial work, they up the price. Even though they only spent 2 hours on it, the price goes through the roof. And I'm not accusing them of trying to steal or gouge us on prices. Because honestly, I understand where they're coming from. They've spent years honing their talent. They've probably spent a lot of money training their talent and a lot of hours in practice with their talent. And to basically provide that to somebody else so they can make money, you want to get some of that back. Because, if you're just providing it for somebody who's going to make one poster and hang it on their wall and, not very many people are going to see it, that's not the same thing as putting a cover on a book or putting a beautiful piece of artwork in a book. And so I understand why they charge more. Game artists, like regular game artists, they tend to understand that there's game design and game writers and game publishers are working on penny budgets. Very, 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 very small budgets. So, to say the least, that game artists who stay in the business of game design, or helping game designers out, because that's what they're doing. They're helping us. Our kind, giving human beings, for the most part, is, relatively speaking, a huge thing. Because if they stay in this field, they know what kind of budgets we have to work with and what they have to charge for the amount of hours that are going into something. Especially if it helps you get more sales. Now, and that's just two of us. That's the writer and that's the artist. But that's not all who goes into producing a book, even an electronic book. You usually have an editor, at least one, and they're not cheap. They shouldn't be cheap for for getting a good editing job out of a book. And you don't want to always go with the lowest bidder. You want to go with the best editor for what you can pay. And you've got to pay for that. And you either have to pay for it out of your pocket or out of your Kickstarter money. One way or the other, it's got to get paid for. That person has to earn their paycheck. And, role-playing books are getting longer in some cases, which means more words, which means more editing, which means more money for the editing. And then you have layout people who are not always also editing or art people. Usually they have art skills visually, but they may not have a drawing talent or a painting talent, but they know how to make something visually look good. They know how to arrange things on a page. They have learned that. And they spent years at school for this. I know of at least one game designer who went to school for herself to learn how to do this, so she wouldn't have to keep paying people because of how much it costs to lay out. So now you've got 4 people that have to split the income of a game book. And 90% of it is coming within the first 6 months. And that doesn't count paying for advertising. That doesn't count paying for printing if you're going to get print books put out there. So when you look at a pay-what-you-want product, judge it by the fact that somebody has decided to take a dive on the budget at some point. Or they made back enough money that they're all happy going, okay, we're happy, we're fed, we've had a meal, we're good, we're chill. Because that's what those are. Those products are products that are in many ways, if you don't pay for them, a gift that you have been given. And you've been given that gift partly because those of us who do pay for it have paid for it within the first, 60, 90 days. Maybe the first 6 months. Because the rest is trickle. The rest is dimes and pennies when your first rush of income from those early adopters is not. It's not insubstantial. It can be rather significant, even for relatively inexpensive products. And this is a dog that is terrified of thunder and rain. She's got an astrophobe, and she's acting up, despite it being just dark outside. There are not any storm clouds nearby. So I think that means I'm going to go. But check out Evil Hat's Pay What You Want products. They're one I would suggest. They definitely have quality products that I have paid cash for, and physical products purchased, as well as electronic products tried out or purchased. They're probably the ones that should be charging, because they still have a market, and that market is being reinforced by other people using the Fate system. Of course, many of those people are just choosing to reprint a version of Fate because it's open content in many ways. But, Evil Hat's out there producing a backup for you, So they have established basically a source well for other game writers and game designers to draw from of experience in testing and all this other stuff that can back up their game. If you like Fate, or if you like other OGL products, and I'm not saying they have pay what you want because I'm pretty sure they don't. But Pathfinder, it's very much D&D 3.5 edition, taken as gonzo out there as it can be, while trying to maintain a tenuous hold on the threads of balance, which I will tell you, they have failed that horribly. But you know what? At this point, it's not about balance. It's just about people having fun. And they produce wonderful products. They have an OGL for it, so people can produce adventures for it. And sometimes those adventures will pay what you want. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're free. Sometimes they're costly. But they're based on a source well, on a set of rules that are already out there. And you can make use of these other products with them with minimal fuss. And sometimes that's worth a lot. I mean, that's what D&D 3rd edition did for so many companies, is create a source well. But the source well can only have so much drawn from it. And now they have Starfinder, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I've made a way long video for talking about something that is not a strong subject for me. Do you really want to be in the video? No? You're like, oh, no. Out of frame very quickly. I don't think she even knows, but bless her heart. Peace. Good gaming, as always. And I'm trying not to blind you, so I'm shooting this one at night after things have settled down a little bit. Good night.